Hello, my name is Christian Hutter. I'm one of the CSEs working for Fortinet. In my today's video, I want to demo a new feature in FortiAnalyzer 7.6 to block IPs, URLs, domains from incidents. Before I do my demo, let me just show you what I pre-configured in my FortiAnalyzer. Under System Settings, Fabric Management, I already configured a FortiManager connector, and my FAS is already authorized. Under Incidents and Events Automation, I configured a VirusTotal connector, and this connector has full access via API to my VirusTotal account. And finally, under Event Handlers, I configured a custom event handler called MyHandler. This handler will automatically create incidents, and it's looking for malicious DNS requests. Additionally, I configured this handler to dynamically extract two indicators. One is the resolved IP address from the DNS request, and the second one the domain name. So let me turn on this handler. So in the moment I don't have any incident, and also in preparation for this video I configured three different indicators manually. One is a URL, and the second one a domain, and the third one an IP address. I already enriched them, and I also blocked them, which means I did use my FortiManager connector to send this information to my FortiManager. So now let's have a quick look to my FortiManager. On my FortiManager, under FortiGuard External Resources, you will find three different lists. They are coming from FortiAnalyzer. The first one is a block list for IPs, and it does contain one IP address, one for domains, and one for URLs. And these lists can be dynamically updated by FortiAnalyzer. Now let's have a look to how to use these lists on your FortiGates. First of all, under Policies and Objects, Security Fabric, you have to configure so-called threat feeds. Here, you specify a name. This time I used block_IP_FAS. And here you also have to specify your block lists. In this case, it's my block IP list coming from FAS. Once this is done, you then need to configure some security profiles. I did one for DNS. In here, under Remote Categories, I'm using my block domain list coming from FAS, and the action is redirect to block portal. And additionally, I'm also using my external IP block list. I also configured a custom web filter profile, and here I'm using my block URL list from FAS, and the action is block. Finally, under Policy Packages, I configured two rules. The first one is from any to any, source is all, but destination is my block IP list from FAS, and action is deny. And the second rule is again any, but this time allow. But this one is using my two custom web filter and DNS profile. And now let's go back to my FortiAnalyzer. So meanwhile, my custom event handler should already had at least one positive match. So let's check first under Incident and Events, Event Handlers. And scroll down here. And yes, we already have one event from my event handler. If everything worked fine, we should now have a automatically created incident for this event. So let's go to incidents, and this is the incident. So it's coming from a handler called myHandler, and it is a DNS request to a malicious website. Additionally, we see the two indicators. One is the domain and the other one is the IP address. What you can do here is, by just clicking on the IP address as example, you can now start to enrich this IP address. What happens in the background is that FortiAnalyzer is now going to FortiGuard to get the reputation of this IP, and it's also going out to VirusTotal to get the reputation from there. Once this is done, it will display the result. So for this IP address, the FortiGuard confidence is low, and from VirusTotal, at least one of the vendors sees this IP address as malicious. So we can now save this enrichment and go back to the incident. Indicators are not just stored under the incident. We also have a separate page called indicators, and there, of course, we find our IP address, and we also find the domain which was extracted from my event. So you can also mark it here and just click on the enrich button. Again, exactly the same happens. It's now going out to FortiGuard and to VirusTotal, and as soon as we get the response from both, we will see the result. So this typically takes a couple of seconds to get all this information back, and now we see this domain is seen as confidence high from FortiGuard, and from VirusTotal we have two vendors. One sees this domain as malicious and the other one as suspicious. Let's now save this enrichment again, and let's go back to here. There is a final step we now want to do, because now it's clear that this is definitely a malicious domain and at least a suspicious IP address. It's definitely a good idea to send this information to my FortiManager. So we will update the block IP list with this IP address in addition, and we will also add this domain to my existing block domain list. The way it's done, you have to mark and then just click on block and OK. And now let's go to the IP address, mark it, click on block and OK. So now my FortiAnalyzer is using the FortiManager connector to send this information via API to my FortiManager, and the FortiManager will update the FortiGates about it. And because I'm using my block lists in my policy, the FortiGates will now start to block this domain and to block this IP address. And that's it for today. Thanks a lot for your time.